What is going on? I know. What have we got here? It's an odd one for sure. This is the Phil Harvey fixed blade. I don't know if he has a specific name for it, but it is a Kiridashi style knife, which is a Japanese utility knife, basically. Phil posted some pictures on his Instagram that he was going to make some of these or whatever. And I, of course, messaged him and said, "Can I have one? Can I buy one?" He said, "Absolutely." And so when he got ready and he made them, he reached out and said, "Hey, do you still want it? Here you go. It's X amount of money and I'll ship it to you because I'm just finishing this one up." It was a no-brainer for me. I'm really a big Phil Harvey fan, as I think you mostly know. Okay. So this is Phil Harvey number 4 in my collection now. And maybe I'll do a full video on the Phil Harvey collection. One of them is out on loan right now to Beard of Doom, so I can't do one right now or pull them all out. But I'll do that once the Peacemaker comes back. This thing is incredibly sharp. So what have you got here? You've got a big solid chunk of D2 at 0.214 overall. Weighs in at 4.2 ounces. And you've got 2.28 inches of blade and cutting edge. I don't normally do a lot of cut tests and paper cutting and things like that on this channel, but I figured this one was worthy of it. It is a slicer. And in talking to Phil, he uses this around the shop because it's quicker and easier for him to sharpen this real quick on his wheel than it is to change the razor blade in a typical utility knife, which I don't have one of those in front of me either, which I totally get. Like, for you and I, it may not be that easy, but to just go sharpen something like that. And, it's easier for us to just take the utility knife apart, switch the blade around backwards, or take it all the way out, put in a new one, whatever. If you have a shop and you just have a grinding wheel right over there, a sander right over there, you can just really quick, zip, 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 and you're good. So I get it. Now, he made another one for another buddy of mine, John, good friend of mine. And on John asked for some scales. I didn't think about that. I just said, sure, send it. So John has some titanium scales on his with 2 screws on either side. So what that does is it makes it a little bit thicker, a little bit more meat in your hand, which is probably a good idea. That kind of leads me to working with custom knife makers is fantastic. If I had a thought of that, I'm sure Phil would have done it for me. It would have cost a little bit more. Everything they do has a price. And I'm okay with that. I'm not going to send it back and ask for scales or anything. I like it just the way it is. I'm not going to use it hardcore. I may send it out to a friend of mine, Chris, who does Kydex sheaths, and see if I can get some sort of a guard, a something maybe. I don't know. I'm going to send him some pictures, or maybe I'll send him this video once it airs and ask him what he thinks might work. The last time I sent him something, though, he came back and says, "Nah, I can't make a sheath for that." So I had to, I appreciate people telling me what they can and cannot do. I would rather have him tell me he can't do it than to do it and have it be a mess. I don't know. It's a flat grind. It's just cool. I like to support Phil. He's a really good guy. He's a really good custom maker over in the UK. On his farm, he's got a shop and he does all, really hand tools, hand mills, drill presses. Like, he makes most of his knives on a drill press and stuff. So you gotta give him some props for being able to produce what he produces. Maybe not this one. This is very simplistic. This is like a no-brainer. Don't use this as the end-all be-all of Phil's expertise in knife making. Okay, this is just a chunk of D2, cut out, ground up, and away you go. But I certainly couldn't make this. My grinds would be all wonky, like, you know, so there is some skill in making something as simplistic as this. And I think it's beautiful. It's the curves, the lines. It spoke to me as soon as I saw it on his Instagram. So I don't know. If you want more details about Phil Harvey, check out my Phil Harvey playlist. I've done several videos with the Peacemaker, the Gladius, and the War Crime. Those are the 3 that I own. And now this one, the Phil Harvey Fixie, whatever. So I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. This was relatively cheap. It was $125. Sure, some people are going to say that's expensive. 125 US for a chunk of D2. To me, it was worth having something from Phil Harvey. Yeah, sure, you're paying for the name. That's maybe a whole different discussion. If you want to dive into that, let me know in the comments. And maybe we'll do another video about just the pricing of stuff. I've talked about secondary pricing before, really in terms of lottos and things like that, limited editions. But I'm glad to have discussion if that's what people want to talk about and why I think this is fine at $125. So I don't know. That's just me. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thanks a lot, guys.